Well, welcome back to the shed. A few people have been asking me what's happened to Adam's channel, and the answer is I honestly don't know because suddenly all the videos have disappeared. I know he's been having a bit of trouble recently, but well, you never know. Perhaps he'll do some better ones in the future, or different ones, or what have you. You can always hope, but for whatever reason, nothing doing at the moment. I'm not on here as often as I'd like to be either, for the simple reason that I'm plagued with arthritis, but they've given me this wonderful new pill called the Proxim, which I was on anyway, but they've upped the dose a bit, and this has helped no end. I don't get the cramping hand anymore, or if I do, it's rare. So things are looking up. I won't say up where. Matron. Well, I've got here today an unusual survivor from Germany, a Grundig C6000 radio recorder, and like all their kit, then the quality shines through. I had to spend a good hour cleaning out all the crap, though, that was inside this. I have a feeling somebody had either been using it as a planting tray, or perhaps to grow sauerkraut, or maybe potatoes, or something like that. The mechanism was full of dust. This is their own strange design. And these were actually being turned out by Unitra, a former Eastern Bloc outfit, until the 90s. Because they were that bomb-proof and reliable, they just kept on chugging away. The only thing that did let some of theirs down was a tendency for the red Leicester cheese problem to surface from time to time with some of the driving gears. In other words, they couldn't get the decent materials necessarily. One thing you do notice about this is the small size of the record and playback head. I think the fixing centres are more or less the same as standard, but this wouldn't play at all because the pinch roller had gone really hard, and the capstan here was just covered in brown gunge, as was the play record head and the erase head here. This has AC bias recording on it, as you might expect with something as elderly as this. It's also got bass and treble controls. It's only mono, quite a biggish elliptical speaker, which is surprisingly free running. It's not long throw or anything, but it is surprisingly free running. Germanium power transistors form the output amplifier, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're installed elsewhere too, little germanium transistors. You've got your battery gauge there, probably doubles up as a record level indicator, perhaps signal tuning strength when you've got the radio on. I haven't really got that far with it, but the tape transport is a strange one. To start it, you press this one here, stop is there, record, as you might expect from the red, is here, and then this lever here has a button on that slides backwards and forwards, and that does your fast forward and rewind, with the central position being idle or off. This one is fitted with a pause control, and the pinch roller, well, they're surprisingly easy to get out actually. You don't really have to do that frightening amount of dismantling as you do with some of the Japanese designs, say, or even the Philips ones. It floats in position. It's held in on a pivot here and by this spring tension there, and just rides on the capstan dead straight, no problem at all. There's nothing wrong with that arrangement whatsoever. It just takes up its own slack. It's a really nice way of doing it actually. This thing has two shortwave bands, long and medium, and FM2, and of course, as you would expect on something as old as this, the 5-pin DID socket, which is here, and you can see how over-engineered the whole thing is. Instead of just a piece of tin foil, they've put it inside a metal plate that's earthed. the actual circuitry to do with the cassette deck itself is all inside there. Very nice touch, very solidly made. Must weigh a ton with batteries in it, I know that much. I think it would need 6 HP2s or D cells. Now, I've got the back off here, and as you can see, I've not got any batteries connected. I've just plugged it in. Now, if you do this, for heaven's sakes, be careful. Do be bloody careful. You know what I think about all this health and safety paranoia. Most of it's completely over the top. But do be careful of mains electric, especially this end in Europe or the UK, because it is fairly high tension, nasty stuff. Last time I measured it with no load on it in here, it was round about 250 volts AC, 50 cycles a second. So yeah, worth keeping away from anything you know to be hot. And if you don't know what's hot, then get it looked at by somebody who does. Right, preaching over. Let's see what this here thing sounds like. You've got quite a nice bass response there, even though the thing isn't in its casing. It's not on the baffle board. And press that one and away you go. Philips also made a rather odd mechanism that was sort of like this, if I remember right. I believe there were two big buttons for play and stop, separate record and pause control, and then a little one that was, I think there were two next to each other, and you used to have to push it in and then gently pull it back, and it would snap back up when you got to your desired part of the tape. Very strange indeed, some of these early machines. But this old Grundig, it will live again, we hope. The casing was that manky that I actually ended up putting it in the bath with a load of biological washing powder. And as you can see, it's come up quite nicely. It still wants a bit of TLC, and the metal that's been marked there, well, I can't do much with that, I'm afraid, but well, that's just one of those things. Every switch and slider on this I've had to squirt with the dreaded switch cleaner, and it's brought it back to life nicely. The mains lead on this is permanently attached, as many of them were in those days. You can see the transformer there lurking. So yeah, a quality product, it says on the back of it, and yes, quite right it is. It's got electronic motor control. Like Philips, they very soon brought out electronic motor control, did Grundig. So yes, a nice old-fashioned survivor. So hopefully we will see you again soon, and perhaps not leave it so long this time. I'm still having trouble sometimes commenting on my own videos, so I can't always reply to everybody. In fact, I can very rarely reply to anybody, and it is annoying because you must be thinking, ungrateful bastard, etc. But no, I do read them all, and I do try, but computer says no. As they used to say on the awful Little Britain show. Oh dear. Never really found that all that funny actually, because there are so many people round here that are just like something out of Little Britain. Anyway, see you soon. Good night.